feel like I need a badge. That's better. Welcome, friends, to Stitch Trek, the show where we talk about Star Trek costumes, where to buy them, how to make them. But today, we're doing something a little bit different. I have been trying for a long time to put together all of the fabric I need for my next costume constructing episode. But it's going to be a very big one, because I'm not just making one costume. It's a big episode, I'm very excited, but finding all the elements has taken me a long time. I miss Joann's. We have some great fabric stores around here, but they're open terrible hours, and in order to get to them, I'd have to like request a day off. I guess I could just go on a grand fabric store tour, but you know, I don't want to miss work right now. It's a very busy season for me. I've accumulated things slowly, trying to find them online, and then sometimes you order things and it shows up and it's not quite the color you needed, or it's not the weight you needed. But we're getting there, It's gonna be fun when that finally begins. But I was going through my things, just spring cleaning, and I came across a stash of books. My Star Trek collection started early, but I was a child and didn't have a lot of money. And I feel like by the time I had any money, so this was like 1993, I never really got an allowance, but by then my mom wasn't making us lunch anymore. She would give us money for school lunch, and every day that I bought school lunch, there was 50 cents left, and I would scrimp and save those 50 cents to buy things. By the time that I had any money left over, like, it was getting harder and harder to find Star Trek things, t-shirts and memorabilia, where I lived anyway, at physical shops, because this is like pre-internet, very, very, very early internet. The places I could walk to, we had a corner store that sold comic books, and we had a bookstore and a toy store, but the toy store only sold kids' toys, like little kids' toys, nothing really themed, very like wholesome stuff. And in order to go to a place that sold, you know, licensed merchandise, you had to take the bus, and I wasn't really allowed to do that until I was a little older. So we'd have to beg my mom, and that was very rare that we got to go to the mall. But yeah, we didn't really have access. Sometimes, do you remember the magazine, if you're old enough to remember the magazine? I think it still exists as a website. I should look this up. Things you didn't know existed. Sometimes we'd get one of those magazines and it would have like a Star Trek t-shirt that I would long for, but again, I had no money. So collecting things when I was little was difficult. And now that I'm an adult with grown-up money, my collection is mostly costume centric, because I don't have a lot of room. You know, I got a couple phasers, communicator, but I don't have a lot of bulky items. I have costumes and I have things made of paper, mostly, and badges. I love myself a badge and a patch. However, rambling, this being said, I found part of my childhood collection that I thought I would share with you. And you can tell me if you knew about these things, or if you had something similar, or what could I buy now from back then that I missed out on, you know? Like, keep in mind, I don't have a lot of room, so I'm not buying some huge Starship models. But I remember like going over these over and over and over and just staring at the images and being enthralled. The first thing that I got ever, I think with my own money at the bookstore, was this. It's been in my background for a very long time, but I'm going to show you a different version of it, because that one's in better condition than the one I'm going to show you. It is this. The Taste of Armageddon. It is a photo novel, bizarrely spelled with an F. Photo novel. So if you did not have access to the episode that you wanted to review or enjoy again, which when I was a child we didn't, there was no VHS or TiVo, is that still a thing? Or DVDs or streaming when I was a kid. You saw it on TV And if you missed it, you missed it. You had to wait until it came back around in replays or something like that. But this was a way to enjoy that episode again. What's brilliant about these is that they're in picture form. This isn't a novel. This is like seeing the episode again. I went over that one specifically over and over and over and over and over, just indulging. And beautiful, beautiful little vignettes of the starship. I loved, this is also probably what got me into comic books. This came out, I have, by the way, a ton of comic books. I have so many comic books. And I love to draw, and studying comic books was one of the ways I think I learned how to draw. Let's see. This was 1967, very early on. And they would start with, do they all have this? I remember reading this one over and over, but I don't remember the other ones. Yeah, they do. Okay. So they all have a little interview with an actor in the beginning. And then they have a list of the people in the cast for the episode. And then they start the show, you know? And it goes through the entire thing in full color. That one. I remember loving that shot. Of course they'd choose that moment, right? Going over and over these again and again. Absolutely charmed. And at the end, it would have a glossary to tell you, you know, the specific things in the episode you might be pondering after reading this. Like, well, what did that mean? What did they mention there? Then it would have a quiz, because of course. And then it would have an ad for the next one coming out. And these are just so cute, completely adorable, beautiful on the front and the back. This was pride of place in my childhood bedroom. And over time, not straight off the shelf, because again, I usually bought things used. Especially our library would sell, I mean our libraries still do this, would sell books that weren't being taken out as much. And I think these ended up in the kids section, I can't remember. And I know I bought a few of these at the library book sale room. They had this like nook where all the books for sale were kept. And I remember scrounging a few of these there. I think I found a couple at like the Goodwill thrift shops. But over time, I eventually collected all of them. There are 12 in the series. They're not in order here. This one also has a conversation with Scotty, James Doohan. Again, the cast. This is Trouble with Tribbles. And then it begins with a beautiful moment when Uhura first picks up a Tribble. Oh, it's so sweet. But I just, these, and we had 3 channels growing up, 3 television channels. These were so much of my time. Oh, City on the Edge Forever, of course. Probably the best episode of original series Star Trek. So this one begins, this volume number 1, begins with an encounter with Ellison, Harlan Ellison. So it's an interview with him. The cast. And into the story. They are just great. The street scene. Did you have these? Did you enjoy them? Did this... Oh. Was this one of the ways that you got sucked into Star Trek when you couldn't watch it, when it wasn't airing on TV? Because like I said, it was hard to go back and watch it again. Oh, okay. Thrilling Adventures in Intergalactic Space by James Lish. We have a list of books that you can order in the back. These are not photo novels, but they are other novels. And $1.50, $1.50. Isn't that delightful? Does it say what it was? This was $1.95. Love it. Love it. We have a quiz again. We have a glossary. Anyway, I have a bunch of these, of course. This is what most people, I'm sure, still read. They're pretty easy to find, very affordably. I have a whole bunch. They're quick. Love them. But these are the ones that really hold my heart. Yeah. Quick sidetrack. Something else I found while I was going through boxes of things in my basement was this. Did any of you have this? I was obsessed with this as a kid, and I didn't learn it much later, that this guy, Jeffrey Williams, sued Michael Crichton for stealing his idea to make Jurassic Park. This is Dinosaur World. This was a cassette tape and book that went together. It came out in 1985. I was obsessed with this, the number of times that I listened to it. I'm surprised I didn't wear the tape out. It is about a dad and daughter that go to the zoo, and she's like, this is fun, but you know, I wish I could see a dinosaur. And they go to Dinosaur World, which is a theme park full of live dinosaurs. There's little ones. There's a walkie-talkie that is, I want to say, sentient, or it responds to them when they have questions. But yeah, they visit this whole park of dinosaurs. And really, when Jurassic Park came out, when I was, what was that, 1990? The book came out, and 1993 the movie came out. When I first read Jurassic Park and then I saw the movie, the similarities were not lost on me, even as a kid. So yeah, there's that. There's that. He lost the case, I guess. The judge decided there were enough differences between the two that it essentially made Jurassic Park a new idea, which it's not completely new. Anyway, this is great. This is still great. I love this thing. Anyway, back to Star Trek. The other thing that I could get locally, I could walk up to my little town and buy with my pocket change, was Star Trek cards. These are from 1991, and I think both sets came out in 1991. Both sets came out in 1991, and you never knew what they were going to be when you opened the package. And I loved that. I loved it so much. They would come with a card that had, some of them, it was random when you got one, but it would come with a card that had a list of every card that existed, and you could check off the ones you already had. I really didn't know anybody that was into Star Trek until I became an adult. I wish it had been easier to find people back then, but again, this was pre-internet. I ended up with a lot of duplicates because I had nobody to trade cards with, and that's great, that's fine. I love it. But these, and I know there are lots of other different types of Star Trek cards, but these are the ones that I had access to, and I am thinking about maybe trying to collect the other varieties. I love these ones. Love them. I'm gonna get a little closer. I'm gonna stand up. These suckers are absolutely my jam, and they have a little write-up of what the card is from and what it's about on the back. Love it, love it, love it. These were published by, I wanted to say Topps, but this is not them. Impel? Impel. Yep. Paramount Pictures, all rights reserved, Star Trek. Impel Marketing Inc. Authorized user. But I just loved these little vignettes. And I feel like this might have been, between the photo novels and these, this might have been where part of my love of Star Trek costumes started, because I could really like stare and analyze what was happening in these pictures. You know, like what did they tape to his forehead? Like I'd analyze the braid on the wrist, you know? I'd analyze the print on her dress, the glare, the print on her dress. Like, come on, Come on, how can you not stare at that, right? And this is one of those cards I was talking about where it listed all of the cards and you could check it off as you found them. And of course you ended up with duplicates of these. So I do have these where I have filled in every box to show that I have every card. Oh look, Gil Martin. Why is that there? I feel like that's probably from my dad. 1993 Bush Grand International Series. Yep, that's definitely something I was given by my father. One just got stains on it. Oh, well. Anyway, that navigated its way in here, and I loved it. You know, the Enterprise is just gorgeous. I loved gazing at these pictures of the ship. Beautiful. So this may have been an origin of my fascination for costumes. Now, not only did they have the original series, but they had Next Gen as well. Oh, delightful family photo. These are just great, 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 great. The Next Gen also had these wonderful little covers of comic books. My comic book store near me, it was not a comic book store, it was a corner store that sold comic books, never had the Star Trek comics, which bugged me. So I'd get like X-Men, Spider-Man, stuff like that, but I never saw those. Ooh, okay, these ones are nice. I'm gonna take this out too so you can see it. We didn't get a Barnes & Noble or a bigger bookstore that had a comic book section that carried Star Trek for a while. Look at this. Beautiful holographic card of the Enterprise D. Oh my god. I was gonna write about it. Yeah. Anyway, I know there are way more cards that I should probably start collecting. I love collecting cards. I think it's because cards are very storable and don't take up a lot of space, but as you peruse them, they can bring back, you know, a lot of great memories. Like, look at this one. This one is the cover of a novel, you know? Oh, wait a second. There are a few more in the back. And these are some of my favorites. I absolutely love anything that showed a blueprint. Shuttlecraft. Loved this. Loved is past tense. Love this gorgeous little card. Beautiful. Careful sliding that one. I'm gonna bend the corners. But I don't know what it was about these ones. These ones that just showed the insignia. Love them. Love them. And I would try to draw these a lot. I would try to like duplicate the perfect lines of this image. I don't know what it was about the simple insignia cards that just delight me, but you show me some bright colors, I'm like, ooh, I won't wear it, but I would like to associate with it. Oh, this one. This one was handed to me. It's not part of my collection. I mean, it is now, it's living with them, but it's not, it's printed by the same company. This is 1992. This is 1 year later than this whole thing that I have. I was handed this card by someone on the Star Trek cruise. And now I feel like I should find the rest of the series and add it to my collection. So I could definitely expand. If you have a card series that you think I ought to collect, tell me, and I shall. This binder is also from the 80s or 90s. I wish I could find more of them. It's just so simple. I love the bright green. Again, bright colors. Yeah, so that's a bit of my childhood history, is these books and these cards. I'm a little nostalgic today. You know, when you're cleaning and you find things from yonder years, and it just makes you feel like cozy and reminiscent. Soon, everybody, I will be starting that project. Actually, today I have a bunch of pants I am fixing for a coworker. I'm like the seamstress at work. I work with a bunch of dudes who tend to rip giant holes in the asses of their pants. How do I never do that? I do the same job. Anyway, they pay me money to fix their ripped clothes, so I never say no. Every little bit helps to keep this show on the road, including fixing pants. So I'm gonna do that, and then as soon as I do that and get that off of the table, oh, I also have 2 chair cushions upstairs I need to finish. But after I do that, I'm going to unfold my big sewing table and organize my fabrics by costumes, and then I can finally start working on the next episode of creating a costume for this series, because that's really why we're here. Collecting is delightful and fun and inspiring, but we are here for Star Trek costuming. Yeah, I think that's it. It's a wonderful, windy but sunny Saturday, and I'm feeling jazzed and inspired, so here we go. Thank you so much for joining me for this little episode of Stitch Trek. I hope it made you reminisce about when you found Trek things in stores and happily brought them home, and the delight you felt to experience that connection, you know, holding something of the thing that you love, I suppose. It's hard to describe that feeling, isn't it? It's not just nostalgic. I don't know. It's something deeper. It's a love. It's a love. But thank you for being here at my little basement abode. Live long and prosper, everybody. Kapla. And